Hello, and welcome to What Am I Doing? The Dungeons & Dragons podcast where one experienced dungeon master and one failed scriptwriter discuss D&D topics. My name is Kinsey, and my ridiculously inadequate pod partner is...
Lewis McCaffery.
And I've got here small talk here, which I have none of.
It's very descriptive, yeah, and we both know how good you are at that.
Yes. Well, yeah, there we go. That's how good I am. Very short.
That's true.
What'd you do for Christmas?
I just spent it with some some nice people, but one of them was a bit frustrating. He kept trying to kiss me. He looked a bit like you, actually.
Oof, this is awkward. It was the alcohol.
Yeah.
I'm
not saying I didn't like it.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
But anyway, how about you? How was your Christmas?
Yeah, well, I was rejected multiple times.
Oh, that's a shame.
By some hot young thing. Kate, if you're listening, I won't go down for this. Anyway, this week's topic is big bad evil guys and girls. So let's get to it. Today's topic is BBEGs, big bad evil guys and girls. What makes a villain? And how do we implement a good one? And do players need a goal-orientated enemy? Lewis. A relative of mine had a cat called Tupac, and it lived for around 15 years, and it spent all 15 of those years aggressively attacking the people that it loved. How do I defeat that kind of power? Can atomic weapons be maintained? What am I doing?
Okay, well, I learned from the Christmas episode that you actually expect an answer now. So I think for a deity such as that, you have to stoop on its level and just try and out-cat it, out-Tupac it,
yes.
And you need to attack the people you love in retaliation, so it realises,
join it.
Yeah, I'm not the big boss anymore.
Yeah, you're
embarrass it into submission.
Oh, okay.
Which is how you got me on this podcast.
That's how I got my Christmas kiss. Okay, so we're going to go straight into the first question about BBEGs.
Okay.
Which is not a search term on certain sites. First question. There's the age-old question of nature or nurture. Do villains require backstory in order to be worthy of player time? Quite a serious question.
That is a serious one to start with.
Yeah.
Do they need it? No. Is it useful? Yes. I think with...
Brilliant, well then with that.
Yeah.
Okay,
next question.
Sorry.
Step over for the next one. No, I think for the best BBEGs, it's always good to see that there's some kind of backstory, or at least some kind of desire. They need to have a reason to drive forward, rather than just, I want to destroy the world. But why? It's because why not? There needs to be some overarching goal, which will probably stem from the backstory. But at the same time, you can have a good villain that has very little backstory. I mean, look at things like Game of Thrones, for example. I mean, ignoring the ending, which was utter garbage. You had the Night King.
Trademark.
Yeah. You have the Night King whose backstory is pretty much unknown. We barely know anything about it, and yet he was a good villain. He was a good BBEG kind of thing. Yeah. So you don't need that backstory.
He wasn't till he wasn't.
Well, yeah.
Well, exactly. I think inevitably, some people might not ever question it. They just want to defeat it. But there's going to be, especially if it's a long-term campaign rather than a one-off.
Yeah.
I think people are going to be attached, and then ask questions, right? You'd rather have the answer to it.
Yeah, it's good if the DM knows, because not only for the answers, but that helps you roleplay that villain if they have a backstory and a personality.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like cardboard. It doesn't feel like it's just kind of a face value thing. It's got a reason to exist. That's fair enough. Question number 2: Can a villain play the good guy? Is morality a factor in great baddies? As you can tell, I've paid someone to write these.
Yeah, I thought so. They
I can't read or writ, so
see what you did there. Can they? Yeah. So can they do good things basically? So can they be good? Can they be moral?
Yeah. Can they do things that you kind of side with actually, or you go, I get that.
Yeah. I mean, it's always good if you have a complex villain that has their own goals. For example, there's someone who I listen to called DM Inspo, or he changed his name a while ago. I can't remember what it's called anymore. He gave some examples of villains. One of which was a beholder who had like a prophecy or something of the party members killing him. So he went out of his way to kill the party members.
That's good, yeah.
And in doing so, caused the party to kill him. It was like a never-ending loop kind of thing. So villains don't necessarily always have to be evil. They can literally just have goals that don't align with the party. So can they do good things? Absolutely.
Yeah, I think usually if two competing things actually have similar goals, but they're going about it a different way. That's a better level of complexity. Yeah. That's more like, God, if I just did one other thing, I would actually be on that side, and I get it, but we're just going about it a different way, you know? That's like, more interesting.
Yeah, look at Batman and Superman. They're both good guys, but often find themselves fighting or arguing because they go about things differently.
Yeah, trademarked.
Yeah.
Well, final question. As other than the Christmas one, we are a short coffee session podcast. You've got time to make a coffee, spill it over yourself, regret it.
Yeah, which you may hear us do during occasional podcasts, which I have already done in the past 20 seconds.
Oh, I thought you just pissed your pants.
I mean, that too.
Okay, so final question. If you could have the rights to any villain in any franchise and bring that to D&D, who would it be? Wizards of the Coast, if you're listening.
That's a really difficult one, actually. You know what? I mean, you've obviously got... I mean, with my favourite series of all time being Star Wars, it'd obviously be amazing to have, like, a Sith Lord come in as... Not even necessarily Vader, but, like, Darth Nihilus or Palpatine, people like that. It would be cool to see that level of power in D&D and how people would go about it. But I'm actually going to go a slightly different way.
Okay.
And...
Whoa, the spin.
Oh, I know.
The spin.
You didn't expect this. The plot twist. No, my guilty pleasure TV show is Teen Wolf.
Okay.
And in one of the seasons, there's a character called the Demon Wolf, which I actually think... I don't know if he's in the movie, I've not seen it, but he's a very cool character. I assume you've not seen the show?
No.
He basically is the leader of an alpha pack, so he's kind of the leader of leaders.
Right, okay.
So, and it's quite cool to see that dynamic.
Yeah.
I think something like that would be cool to see in D&D.
You sure he's not just a furry?
You're exposing me here.
And with that, today's adventure is sadly coming to a close. We're back again next week with a topic. You're a cobbler in the 14th century France. Was it worth it?
Yes.
And as always, thank you for tuning in, and if you'd like to join in on the D&D action or just support this show, then please head over to our server Patreon, Adventures in Alandra, which can also be found in today's podcast description, and join us on Twitter at WhatAmID&D. I've been Connor Kinsey.
I've been Lewis McCaffery.
Good day.
Goodbye.